Are they already in Chicago?
The one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
I'm excited to be back, my man. It was 9 days in Vegas. We got stuck in the desert, and we had a little hangover remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
Spiderweb
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was having fun.
Wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into thevoiceofstockton.org.
Hello, welcome to Chef Tobias Cooks, here where we have kitchen conversations with professional chefs, cooks, home cooks, bakers, and people that just can't cook. So join us every week for our kitchen conversations and learn a thing or two. And I don't burn nothing in my kitchen.
This is Darius Oliver, and you're listening to 92.1 KXVS, the voice of Stockton.
KXVS, the voice of Stockton, live. The voice of Stockton at Stone Soup Studio. KXVS.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
The voice of Stockton presents The Lance McHan Show with your host, Lance McHan.
Tobias Cooks from the...
Oh, he's we're gonna have to pause for a moment while Lance McHan finishes his live teaser on Facebook. But once again, KXVS, the voice of Stockton, all the way live from Stone Soup Studios. It's time for The Lance McHan Show with your host, Lance McHan.
Good morning, Nicole. Little odd show. We're out of sync here today, but how are you doing today?
I'm well.
So Nicole here, she has a local bakery called La Dolce de Vita.
The Dolce Vita Bakery Eats.
There you go. So thank you for coming on my show today.
Thank you.
So how long have you been in the baking? How long have you been baking? Because when I go in your shop, I get the sense that you've been baking for a very long time.
Well, professionally.
Okay.
Professionally, I've been baking close to about 4 years now. As far as the baking part goes, way back to when I was 5 years old.
Easy bake oven?
Yes. In fact, I did have an easy bake oven. I did. My mother bought me an easy bake oven. And true story, I decided that the easy bake oven wasn't working.
Because it took 4 hours to get your brownie to finish.
I actually put it in the oven. I did, and I got in trouble. And then at that point, I did that. And then the next thing, I was actually cooking on top of the stove. I pulled up the chair, and I was on the stove, sitting on the stove with the spoon, and I was cooking. And at that point, my mother was like, okay, I think something's going on here.
I better keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
At least you're starting fires.
Exactly, yeah.
So where did you start? When did the baking start? Because, like you said, it started when you were a kid, but where did you start getting the feel like this is something I really love doing?
Well, when I was 14 years old, I catered my first event at church.
Oh, wow.
And I remember in my head thinking, oh, wow, this is something I think I can do. The only outlet I had at that time was PBS. Are we allowed to say PBS? That was the only, thing that I had as far as watching other people cook. But other than that, I will watch my grandmother, her friends, my aunties, the church ladies.
I was going to say, do the church ladies have a big influence on you?
The church ladies definitely. That was really the place that I knew where people actually cooked. So when I was 19, I had decided that I wanted to be a chef as my career. At that time,
that's young to know what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I knew at 19. I knew. I went on the tour at San Francisco College. I had started to register for classes, cooking classes. Unfortunately, I had something that happened to me at that time that led me to go get a job, go to college, do something else. And I did that for about 14 years. Then when I was about 37 years old, pregnant with my 4th child, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what that 19-year-old wanted to do.
So you went to college at
37 years
37.
old. Yes, with 4 children, my husband.
So you were cooking. You were taking cooking classes with a bun
in the oven.
In the oven.
Yes, I was literally. Yes, I was. Yes.
How awesome is that?
That was. It was a great experience, and yeah, it was an experience because I was the pregnant girl in culinary school, and I had all the food and the snacks and all that, and I met a lot of friends because of that, and so it was an experience.
I bet trying to navigate.
Yes.
Navigate with the. Trying to mix a bowl with, you
yes.
know, mix it out here sometime.
Yes, on the side. It was on the side.
Oh, really?
It was on the side. I had it down packed. Yes, yes. And I would sit down at the edge of the kitchen.
Oh,
in a chair.
Pretty cool. So what? Because we've talked before, and
yes.
you were a chef at Google.
Yes.
How did that come to be? That's pretty cool gig.
It actually was. You know, that was a funny story. I was working at Kaiser in Redwood City at the time, and I was on track to work there and just retire. That was my goal, to work there and be a chef and retire. And a friend of mine was like, a chef, you know, they're hiring. And I'm like, I already have a job. It's a pretty good job. And then my head chef, he was like, I think you should apply. So I applied, went to the interview.
It's Google.
Yeah, I mean, but I was at Kaiser. I was making good money at Kaiser. I had benefits.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, you know, my mind,
the security.
Yes, and at the time I was 40 years old, so I was looking at retirement. In my head, I was thinking I could do another 20 years here and I could retire. So that's what I was looking at. So when I went for the interview, it was just kind of bizarre. I actually was hired right on the spot. And I was starting.
Did you walk in with a dish of cannolis?
No. I walked in bewildered because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like, I didn't know about the Google campus. Like, I didn't see the movies. I didn't see The Office. I didn't see any of that. So when I came and I walked in, I was just like, what in the world is going on here? It's like another world.
Oh, wow.
And so when I went for the interview, they gave me the position on the spot.
Wow.
And so
I bet that was an amazing day, huh?
It was.
I mean, how many people get the job on the spot?
Yeah.
Hardly any.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, you said you were working before baking.
Yes.
What were you doing before that?
Before that, when I did not go to school for culinary, I ended up going to school for metal secretary.
Okay.
I went to Berkeley and I did a medical secretary certificate, and that led me to work. I worked at Kaiser. I worked at Altabates. I worked at pretty much all of the medical facilities downtown Oakland and San Francisco, Berkeley at the time. And then I ended up at San Francisco Mission, San Francisco Portrayal Hospital, General Hospital. And I worked there. Shout out to Sheila Harthorne. Shout out my boss. She actually hired me too, right on the spot.
Oh,
my
wow.
first interview, she hired me. So she gave me the opportunity. So I worked for the county I think it was about close to 14 years I worked there. I started out as a clerk typist, and I worked myself all the way up to a case manager. And I worked in, first I started out in the utilization department, and then I ended up working at a special center. And I worked there for...
Were you baking during all this time?
No, this was no baking. This was strictly medical. I did referrals, authorizations. I ended up doing... at the end of it, I ended up working strictly doing reports.
So what was your moment where you're like, I want to be a chef. I want to be a baker. What was your moment? Like, what did that look like?
Well, again, I planned on staying there until I retired. I will always eat in the cafeteria. San Francisco has some of the best food.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
They do.
And so I will always eat in the cafeteria, and I would see the chefs and cooks, and I'm like, maybe I could transfer over there. But it came when I was laid off. We had the big citywide layoffs, during the .com, and moved. Yeah, it was huge. Moved to Stockton. And I told my husband, I said, look, I don't want to go back to the hospital unless I'm cooking. I want to be a chef. So he was like, make it happen. And so it was just in that conversation that we had. My husband said, well, 3 years. I said, but it's 2 years of school. He said, well, 2 years is going to come anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well do something that you love to do. And so I went to go register, took the orientation, started class.
Where at?
There we
in Delta?
go. Yes, Delta College.
They have a great culinary school.
They have an awesome culinary program. It's a 2-year program. I went for 3 years because I had to repeat a class. But also I wanted to take all of the classes that was offered. So I went ahead and stayed an additional 2 more semesters so that I can make sure that I was fully educated in the culinary field.
So does Delta have the focus on the baking side, or is it just an overall culinary? They teach you all facets of...
Well, they have 3 different programs that you can go through.
Focuses?
I went through all 3.
Okay.
My intentions was just to go through the culinary part, but I ended up going through the baking part. And it wasn't until then I realized, hey, I could bake. What are y'all doing? Y'all not baking? I was like, I'm gonna do it this way. And it was funny because the whole table followed me and we all did it, and I was like, put that over there, and it was like, okay. I was like, put that over there. It was like, okay. And then in that moment is when I was like, all the church ladies came back to me. My grandmother came back to me.
That's cool.
And I was like, hey, I could bake.
I was just going to ask you, what was your moment?
That was my moment.
You're like,
my moment is when the young lady was creaming butter and sugar. And she stopped. And I'm like, wait a minute. You have to cream it until it turns white. And then in that moment, it was like, take it over. Just take over the entire baking project of the table. So in that moment. This was for a grade? That was for a grade. And in that moment, that was my aha moment. You're going to make me fail. Yeah. That was exactly. Here it is. I'm like, at the time, like 40, 39 years old.
I thought it was 35.
No. And I'm in the classes with kids that my daughter is older than. So it was kind of a weird thing because I'm not your mom, but it was like, pick that up.
Yeah, clean up after yourself. You're going to be working in a restaurant.
Yeah, and it was kind of difficult for me because I had to realize that at that time, a lot of kids, they were trying to get away from their parents. They wasn't trying to be with their parents.
Right.
So I had to learn how to not be their mom. I had to learn how to be a student right along with them. So it took me a minute, but once I understood that, then that's when my passion came within. That's when I was like, okay, this is my passion as well.
Yeah, I remember when we first met. It was at a chamber mixer, and I was prepping for a show, and then you had all this. You had a chocolate fountain. You had all this stuff. You're like, you want some, baby? I'm like, I would love some. I go, as soon as my competition over, I'm getting some cannolis. Yeah. My family loved those.
Yes.
So switching gears a little bit, what was your moment when you were like, I want to own my own bakery?
Actually,
that's a big undertaking.
That was another surprise.
You have all these surprises.
Yes,
I love it.
It is full of surprises. I had no intentions on owning a bakery. It was not in my plan.
Your husband said you're doing this.
Huh?
Did he have that serious face? You're doing this.
It was not in my plan at all. It was just a conversation that happened, and it led to 3 weeks later, I'm standing in the bakery like, what in the world?
What am I supposed to do?
What did I get myself involved in again? So it was just one of those things.
So how long you been in your location?
Well, we relocated the location. So it's still the same. You can still call us. You still get on our website, on our Facebook. We relocated to a private location because what happened was my catering was starting to get more than the business itself. So I started getting a lot more catering and a lot more larger corporate orders. And so the storefront was kind of the storefront wasn't matching what the catering part was. Basically, the catering was paying the bills.
Okay. There you go. So I can't come see you anymore when I'm downtown.
I'm still downtown.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, you could just let me know when you're there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, what specialties? I mean, your cannolis are pretty darn good. So, what other things do you think are your specialties?
Right now, what I had to do is when I first...
Not that I'm asking you to brag about yourself.
No, when I first opened up the bakery, I went into this thinking that I was going to do this and I was going to do that and this is that. But someone gave me really great advice, and they said, allow your customers to dictate the business for you. And then when I did that, the vegan part of the catering is...
I didn't know you did vegan.
Is a specialty. The cannolis, my pastries, the cupcakes and cookies and brownies are the specialties right now. Yes.
So, so which ones are better, the vegan or the traditional?
Well, I do vegan pastries as well.
Not a lot of people do vegan pastries. Just saying.
Yes, I do vegan scones. I do. I have vegan scones that I do, and then I also do a vegan fruit pastry as well. So those are pretty popular.
I bet because the whole natural vegan thing is starting to take off.
I still use sugar though. It's not healthy. It's just vegan.
There's no real way.
There's no way around the sugar. Yeah.
I guess you can't make it'd probably be difficult to make the whip the cream and the sugar to make something to have the same consistency.
It would be very difficult because of the structure of the sugar that gives the pastry. Yes. But you can do it though. You can do it. It's possible. I just don't.
Make your life a whole lot harder.
Yes.
So if somebody, man, I didn't know you moved. That's
okay. I'm still around. Yeah, it's great.
So what are the differences between the vegan and the traditional? What do you have to do different?
Well, with the vegan, I just stick to my blueberry scones.
Okay.
My cinnamon scones. During the holidays, I do the pumpkin scones. And then as far as the cookies, the vegan cookies, I do the mocha cinnamon cookies for that. And then for the pastry part, I do the strawberry and I do the lemon. So I just stick to the basic.
Okay.
I'm at the point now where I can't really experiment too much because people, they know me, they know my menu, and that's what they generally prefer. Sometimes I get people to ask me to do chocolate vegan dipped strawberries.
Okay.
So I'll do that for special requests. Yes.
Okay.
So and then Oreos are vegan too. Did you
shut
know
the
that?
front door.
Yes. Oreos are vegan. I'm gonna give you a tip.
All you vegan people out there, Oreos are now on the menu.
Oreo cookies are vegan. If you get vegan chocolate, which is dark chocolate, you could dip that and boom, you got yourself chocolate covered Oreos that are vegan. Yes. Yes.
You learn something new every day.
You learn something new. Yes. So you can have vegan Oreo dipped chocolate.
And not feel guilty about it.
And not feel, well, it's still sugar, but.
Yeah, you know, that's crazy. So if someone is interested in learning more about you and where you're at and what you do, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, right now, Facebook, social media is the great way. You could contact me at Nicole Tobias Cooks. Better yet, you could go to Chef Tobias Cooks on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram. Another great thing that I've added with La Dolce Vita Bakery Eats is Tobias Food Company, LLC.
Oh, wow.
So now we have our own products. We're getting ready to launch our first product within the next couple of weeks.
Is it a secret or can you tell the...
Actually, it's a little bit of a secret. Okay. But we actually have 4 products that we're getting ready to launch with the Tobias Food Company. But as of right now, you can still reach me on Chef Tobias Cooks, Nicole Tobias Cooks, or you can go to La Dolce Vita Bakery Eats on Facebook as well.
What about your website?
The website is www.ladolcevitabakerycafe.com.
And then if they wanted some catering, they could fill out the... I imagine you have something on there for catering and...
Yeah, you know, people generally just inbox me.
Okay, through Messenger? That's easy, huh?
It's nothing special. Yeah. I try to be professional. I try to be like, oh, go to my website. They be like, Nicole.
I need 24 cannolis, 4 vegan cookies.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Okay. I need it by Thursday at 2 p.m.
That's pretty much how it goes. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
To my audience out there, if you're free between 6 and 8 p.m. tonight, I'm having a mixer at Papa Pavlo's. Come out and say hi. Bring a guest. It's free. It's open to everybody. No multi-level marketing or... boring speaker. It's just a mixer. Get out and know your community. So I will see you tonight at 6 p.m. at Papa Pavlo's. Thank you and have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud of you too.
Thank you.